You work hard, you pay your bills, you have a steady job and a decent salary, and yet at the end of every single month, the money is just gone. This bar represents the median US household income of $83,730. While that sounds like a foundation for stability, look at how it gets sliced away. The average American is saving just 4% of that total. For every $100 earned, 96 leave the house. Inflation serves as the initial drain. In 2026, the rate is hovering around 2.6%, which sounds low until you factor in the cumulative 20% spike we've absorbed since 2021. Your nominal paycheck is larger, but your purchasing power has been decimated. Before we get into this channel is brand new. I'm building it from scratch, just like you might be building your finances from scratch. If that journey interests you, hit subscribe. It's free, it takes 2 seconds, and it means everything to a new creator. Beyond inflation, the remaining wealth is harvested by an economic ecosystem, from banks to car dealerships, specifically optimized to reclaim your surplus income through interest and fees. In his final shareholder letter, Warren Buffett quoted his late partner Charlie Munger, who pinpointed the psychological driver of this extraction. Munger noted that the world isn't driven by greed, but by envy. We are conditioned to spend money we don't have to signal status we haven't yet earned. The middle-class struggle is a result of this highly engineered behavioral and systemic trap. Surviving it requires a mechanical, step-by-step escape plan. The first category of traps exists in our own internal wiring. Specific psychological triggers are designed to capture increased income before it can ever reach a brokerage account. This is lifestyle inflation. When you receive a raise that adds $833 to your monthly take-home pay, the typical response is an immediate upgrade, a nicer apartment, a luxury car lease, or more frequent dining. That $833 is absorbed into the cost of living, leaving your net worth at a standstill. You stop this leak with the 80-20 raise rule. Every time your income increases, 80% of that new money must be automatically routed to investments or savings before you ever see it. You use the remaining 20% to actually enjoy the raise. When we fail to bank those raises, the cause is often social comparison spending. Allocating capital to assets that merely signal status, like designer labels or luxury leases, creates a permanent ceiling on your wealth, keeping you tethered to the next paycheck. This demographic bell curve maps the 10% drop in middle-income households since 1971. While several factors drive this slide, the data shows that as purchasing power has stalled, households have relied on consumer credit to maintain an older standard of living, effectively hollowing out the middle class from the inside. You can identify your own exposure by running a 30-day social performance audit. Review your last month of spending and highlight every purchase made primarily to influence how others perceive you. The resulting total represents capital you are handing over for the sake of an image. True wealth is invisible to the public. It lives in compounding assets. The active performance of wealth is a heavy recurring expense that keeps you financially fragile. Personal psychology is only half the battle. We also have to deal with external industrial extraction, where massive industries have successfully normalized the use of high-interest debt for depreciating assets. Trap number 2 is the debt lifestyle. Dealerships routinely market 6- and 7-year auto loans to hide the total cost of ownership behind a low monthly payment. You're paying interest for nearly a decade on a vehicle losing 20% of its value the moment you drive it off this lot. Then there is trap number 3, the housing trap. Lenders are now proposing 50-year mortgages as a solution to housing costs. The result is a generation of owners who are house-rich but cash-poor, with zero liquidity to handle life's variables. This chart shows the real cost of that leverage. On a $400,000 home, a 30-year mortgage generates roughly $400,000 in interest. Stretching that to a 50-year term forces you to pay nearly double the house's actual value in interest alone. These interest payments are compounded by the hidden costs of oversized homes, utilities, property taxes, and maintenance. In 2026, as ACA health insurance subsidies expire for many middle-class earners, that lack of cash flow becomes dangerous. Without a buffer, those households are forced to choose between insurance and the mortgage. To break this cycle, apply a dual strategy. First, use the debt avalanche method to pay off existing loans by interest rate, starting with the highest. Second, never allow your total housing costs, including insurance and taxes, to exceed 28% of your gross income. Major industries rely on masking these total costs. By focusing the consumer on the monthly payment, they turn the middle class into a permanent, reliable revenue stream for the banking sector. Even those who avoid lifestyle inflation and high-interest debt can still get trapped by attempting to be safe without understanding the mechanics of wealth. This is trap number 5, the savings account illusion. Parking all your surplus cash in a traditional bank account feels responsible, but it is no longer a tool for building wealth. Look at this equation for 2026. A high-yield account might offer 4%, but when you subtract the 2.6% inflation rate, your real return is just 1.3% before taxes. In this environment, cash in a bank account is barely maintaining its value. It isn't growing. This stagnation stems from trap number 6, financial illiteracy. Wealthy families pass down the knowledge of how to use assets to outpace inflation. Without that education, most people default to the bank, which simply uses their deposits to find higher return investments for themselves. The final vulnerability is trap number 7, no emergency fund. Without a liquid cash buffer, the entire financial structure you've built remains one bad day away from total collapse. Survey data from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau confirms that many middle-class earners cannot withstand a major income disruption. These families have high incomes but zero resilience, meaning a single car repair or medical bill pushes them directly into high-interest credit card debt. The escape is sequential. Commit 15 minutes a day to financial education. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund in a high-yield account for safety. Once that is funded, move every additional dollar into productive assets, like an S&P 500 index fund. Without that cash buffer and the knowledge to manage it, every minor life inconvenience becomes a catastrophic event that forces you back into the debt cycle. If you maintain your current habits, this systemic architecture will continue to harvest your labor. Between inflation, interest, and social pressure, you will be slowly pulled backward until you are permanently priced out of your own financial future. Escaping the middle class is not about hitting a lottery-style salary. It is about a deliberate refusal to allow your wealth to leak out into these institutional traps. Do not attempt to overhaul all 7 areas tonight. That creates the kind of overwhelm that leads to inaction. Pick one. Identify the single trap that is currently costing you the most money. Write it down right now and apply its specific mathematical fix. Master that one change, then move to the next. The modern economic system functions like a machine designed to capture surplus value. By closing these 7 weeks, you stop being a reliable data point in their extraction model and start accumulating the wealth you've actually earned. If you made it to the end, you're already ahead of most people. Subscribe, hit the bell so YouTube actually notifies you, and I'll see you in the next one. We're just getting started.